Hi there, Rob from Expert On. I'm just dropping this in just before the video starts because I want to thank you for watching this. It's not going to be a short video. It's a heavy detailed video about Blastking. So in this video here, full details about all the products, all the features. We're going to cover it all from start to finish. So I want to let you know that before the actual video starts. It's a popcorn video. We go through a lot. We're going to go through all of this. We're going to do everything about both these speakers at the same time. And we're going to cover everything about Blastking. So remember, Blastking does have a link down below, so that's the one to go for. If you have questions or comments on this video, which is really important, this is why I'm doing this just before, put them down below. We'll answer that in a separate video altogether about Blastking. So again, visit their website so you can learn more about their product and everything else they have. And if you have questions or comments, put them down below, and I'll try and get one of the guys over at Blastking to help me answer all those questions. Hi there, Robin here from Expert On, and today we're going to do some comparisons, and we're going to introduce a new speaker brand at the same time. Unless you live down in Florida, you probably don't know this speaker right here, and that's a Blastking. It's a 15-inch powered speaker, 1200 watt system. Now wattage gets thrown out a lot, but this actually is a 1200 watt system, and we've already tested it, and in a real world situation we do get it up to about 110 dB. Now, right here beside it, I've got the JBL EON615. Now, we've reviewed this speaker a couple of times already. We've had it up against other speakers. I do like using the JBL because it's a very good benchmark. So, we've got it again on the table, and we'll compare, well, what do we get if we go with a California brand JBL EON615 versus a Florida brand Blastking. Now, with the Blastking, more suited for somebody who really wants that extra bass, that low end. The punch depends on the type of music you're going to be listening to. If you're listening to techno, house, anything from reggae, hip hop, dance, that sort of thing, that's really good. Important, you don't plan on putting this in a bedroom or a rec room or something like that, because it is meant to be loud. You want to run this really, really loud all the time. It's for big parties, big events, that sort of thing. The big thing about it is, for me, when I'm looking at all the specs and all the features and sound testing it, is it doesn't have an active crossover. The JBL does. Now, these are some of the things we're going to talk about today in this video. What are the differences? Where are we going to use a Blastking versus a JBL EON? Now, there's lots of choices, but that's what we're going to talk about. So what we'll do is we'll bring the JBL back up on the table, but first we're going to talk a little bit about Blastking, the brand and the product lines that they have. So they're a company who for like 30 years have been making either drivers or consumer products. That market though has become pretty eroded because local companies that have been doing that have moved mostly to Amazon. So being on Amazon basically becomes a price-driven product line, and you know, there's no money in it for anybody anymore, but most importantly, the quality of the product's gotten really low. So that being said, Blastking decided years ago to start moving forward in becoming a higher end, a higher performance rated type product brand. So they've done that by replacing their drivers, their tweeters, their amp plates, and their boxes. So they've definitely made a big move up. Now this is their premium product. It's called the KXDII15A for active. So with this product, you're seeing a lot of technology to drive performance and power. That includes the fact that it's in an actual plywood birch box, and the fact that they've gone to a full D-class power amp in the back, and they've also upgraded into their higher end driver packages. Now, weight is always a factor when you're looking at a hardwood box speaker. So when you have plywood, it usually is because you now have heavier drivers on the woofer and heavier drivers on the tweeter. So just the drivers in the front alone are between 30-35 pounds. By the way, that happens, doesn't matter if you're looking at Electro Voice or JBL. For example, the SRX815, which is a $1,400 speaker, it weighs in at 63 pounds, and that's because the driver package inside of it is awfully heavy. And the same thing, you look at the PRX, so their step down series, their 815P in the PRX weighs 46 pounds. So I'm taking notes, this way we've got it covered. Now, for volume, If you look at a JBL, you know, their most competitive price right now, it's really crazy how active they are on with their price points. Right now, as I make this video, I was checking updates on pricing, and currently it's $440 in the States. It's like $600 in Canada, but the important thing is they're being very, very aggressive. So you've got a company who's all about pricing their products and really getting a lot of market share with their brand. So that's what's going on there. Now this one here you're looking at, it is $500. Now, is it better than getting the JBL EON? It's going to be more powerful. So that's the big reason why you're buying it. So if you're going to want to play it outdoors, if you're going to want to play it as a DJ and you're playing really aggressive music, and I say that, you know, so if I'm playing jazz or I'm playing rock from the 70s or 60s, I'm not going to buy a Blastking. What I'm going to buy the Blastking for is if I'm playing, so anything that's popular. So, you know, you can look at stuff like techno, house, hip hop, reggae, anything like that. This is going to do that kind of a job for you. Now remember, you don't want to play this at 50%. You want to have this set in line mode, and you want to be pushing it really hard. And then you get some big sound out of it, which is kind of awesome. So let's talk a bit about the specs, the features, the breakdown, and then we're going to compare those to what we have right next to me here on the floor, which is the JBL. We'll pull that up and get a little bit of comparison there. Frequency response. So you've got at minus 3 dB, 55 to 19 kilohertz. Now, that's about 5 points less than the JBL, but very close. Frequency range, again, 45 to 19. Again, just 10 points off from what we see in the JBL, which kind of, you know, because they could fudge that a little bit and, you know, get it closer, but they didn't, and that's good, right? Their max SPL is 140 dB peak. Now I'm just saying this as reference, okay? So if we keep that number in our mind, 140 dB, that's like a pink noise rating in a sound booth, blah blah blah, with the right microphone and all that kind of stuff. You know, JBL also puts out the numbers, and this is the only thing that gets me. Don't get me wrong. I think if you want to buy a safe speaker, a speaker that you're not going to have to worry about, a speaker that you can have other people use. So if you're the buyer and you're going to have it locked away in a school gymnasium or an auditorium where other people have to interact with that product and use it, buy the JBL. But, so again, JBL, very popular. I recommend it. Everybody recommends it. You can't go wrong with that. There's lots of great brands out there, so I'm not picking on them. I'm just pointing out a fact from their website. SRX815P, which is $1,400, weighs in at 63 pounds. Again, 2,000 watts. SLP dB rating is 37 dB. Their PRX815P, which is advertised at 1,500 watts, and again, $850, 46 pounds. So 63 pounds now, 46 pounds with a dB of 137 dB. So it's all into who actually did the test at that particular point in time. So I'm assuming they know what they're doing, and they've got some way of coming up with these numbers, and they're legit, because I'm sure somebody has some engineering papers to back this up. But it's just funny how they both have the same 137 dB, even though they're, you know, $600 apart, they're $550 apart, and 20-ish pounds apart in weight. So that's what's going on there. So here, what we do have is we have a speaker that weighs 65 pounds, fully loaded. And like I said, the bulk of this weight is always going to be on the driver's side. The box is heavy, but you know, half of that's coming out of the if we take two drivers out of it, it almost sheds half its weight. So that's what's going on here. Back to where we were. So we just covered the max SLP. So now we're going to look at sound dispersion. Now JBL does have a better way of doing it. They've invested a lot of money. You got to understand, JBL, it's an amazingly huge, organized company that are doing all kinds of great work out there, right? So they have that special diffuser on the front of their woofer to balance out with their horn and to give us proper, so we don't have any outside muddiness in the sound, and it's just perfect, right? So again, you're buying something because it was built that way and it's priced that way because, well, that's what they do. They're just, you know, a really big company with a lot of engineers who can make this happen. Now here, you're looking at what we're normally going to see, which is about 147 degrees going this way, horizontally, and vertically 110. Now if we use it as a monitor, angling it, because it does have pads on the side, we're going to look at a speaker that has 50, because that's not exactly 45 degrees, so it's not exactly half in that case. I'd probably want to use it as a main more than a monitor, but you know what, if you haven't need to use it as a monitor, that's not a, you know, a problem, because you can, and it's got the feet on it to do it. Their power handling, 1200 watts. I didn't get a breakdown when I spoke to them. I should have asked, but I'm going to say it's roughly somewhere around 750 with about 450 on top, thereabouts, something like that. So it's properly proportionate. So you've got that. You've got well, of course, 15-inch, so we can skip over that. So we do have, so they do talk about the drivers that come in here. So you do get a 15-inch and a 2-inch tweeter horn on top of it. Crossover frequency, now it doesn't talk about it being active, so frequency crossovers at 1.9 kilohertz, and it's bi-amped, of course, and it's a D-class power amp. So Intergrated DSP. Now this is nice. I do like this. Now sometimes, you know, you don't need this, sometimes it's nice to have it, but if you just want to plug a controller into this, so if you have a music controller and you're going to go straight into here, if you want to be able to start your music play by keeping your mids, highs, and lows set flat, you have a choice on the back of this unit to choose what play mode you want to have it in. So the 5 modes that are in there is main, so basically no alterations at all. Music, and then it's got an 80 hertz high pass, then it's got speech, and then it's got monitor mode. So monitor mode actually trims out a little bit of the bottom end, so this way it doesn't interfere as much with what's going on, and punches up the mids just slightly. Speech mode tapers off the highs and the lows, so this way we get more of the vocals in the middle, is going to come out more. And then we've got the 80 hertz, so that's high pass. So basically that's if we were actually planning on using the subwoofer underneath and we want to get more performance out of the speaker. Music mode is going to punch up the highs and the lows on the unit, and main is not going to do pretty much anything at all to it. It's going to keep it flat. So it allows you to pre-select to maximize the speaker for how you're going to use it. Now again, if you put in music mode, you're not going to have to tweak your controller before you actually start playing music. So this way, if you do want to dial in a little extra bass, a little extra highs, play around with the mids, you can do that and have full range of your controller. So there you go. That's what's going on there. Then we've got input connections, XLR combo jacks with 1/4 inch options too. So another big feature, we've got combo jacks on both, and they give us a button. Now I love buttons. This button here, that's the actual mic line button on it. So it allows you to make these jacks anything you want. And it also gives you full gain control over the knobs. So this way I go from all the way off to 100% on both of them. If I'm using it on mic, I just push the button in. If I'm not using it on mic, I leave the button out. It gives me a lot more control, and I have a lot more faith in the product that way. Again, if this was going to be used where other people are going to touch it, I'm so paranoid, I would probably even hot glue these guys in the out mode so nobody could push them in. I don't want somebody to accidentally blow up a speaker because they decided to push the mics on and basically, overgain the system and throw a lot more power out there when it can't handle it. Anyways, that's what we've got there. And we can, of course, turn the light on and off on the front, and we have 3 more lights up on top here. So the lights up on top are power indicator, signal indicator, and limiter. So you don't want to have it going too hard in the limiter because, well, it's basically just cutting off the top to make sure it doesn't blow up the speaker. If your limiter is on all the time, besides the fact that it's going to sound like garbage, you're also going to eventually have the speaker shut down on itself. So limiter on every once in a while basically tells you you've gotten there. But that's it. That's all you want to see. And one more options on the back. We've got on the output, so we do have an output option here. So on our output, we can either have it as mixed or line 2 input, so which is kind of cool because that really allows you to determine what this is actually going to sound like. Do I want both my XLRs coming here, and then I'm going to pull out of here, and then I'm going to subs, or maybe I'm going to a speaker left right, and I want to control that. They actually give you a button to do that, which is kind of rare, but nice to have, that is for sure. And then the power options, it is built to go from 110 to 240, so if you're planning on traveling with the speaker, you can do that. So there you go. That's everything that's featured on the back. Of course, we talked about the fact that it's plywood enclosure, and the handles are easy for transportation. Includes, you know, 2 sides, handles, all there. Now this is important. I did do this. Spin it all the way around. I took the handle off already, just to see what it looked like inside and how it was built. So, very important. If I do this, take this screw out of here just like that. Now this is why I'm doing this, is to show you the details. Now, that is a full threaded screw going to an insert on the back side of the actual box. It basically allows like a nut and bolt attachment. It's a solid attachment. We're not relying on screws. The main 4 bolts that hold the handle on are like this, which is really good. And then the regular bolts that we have are the regular screws that go around and hold the rest of it for balanced structure are what we expect. Screwed right into the plywood. Very important. So, it's the small things that you can easily not have to worry about. It's like when we take the actual amp plate off, or we take the handle off and we look inside. We see their branded products being used in this actual speaker. So that's a big, big plus. So that's what's going on there. So I did like to see that, and that was one of the reasons why I determined, yes, I do like it, because I'm seeing all of that happen. Now, same thing in the front. We've got a very thick grill. So a thick grill is basically, it's going to be hard to bang and dent in. 2, it's going to keep the vibrations and distortion of the actual metal grill from picking up any resonant sound off the driver. So that's a big plus. Now they also put the mesh in behind it, and again, that's to help dampen any residual noise. Now, of course, it makes it look nicer. Can't argue about that. But it's there to dampen any residual noise that's going to come off of that grill. So there we go. Now for getting hot when we're running it, I had this thing set full line at Unity at 110 dB, and we left it there for about 5 or 6 songs playing around with it, and nope, it got normal warm, heat came off of it, but it's not just metal. I'm going to have to say the heat sink and all of this. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. This is all molded aluminum, all here. So this really transfers the heat off of the actual amp chips inside and everything else, and gets rid of it real quick. So I think that's why it's not running as hot as I would expect it to be, or anybody turning this on and having it on for a long period of time. So again, it's the small things, but this is a company who wants to step up their game. This is a company who wants to build a better product out there, and they certainly are doing it. That is for sure. All right, so I've just taken off 20 screws off of this grill. Yes, 20 of these guys right here off of this grill. And amazingly enough, they all had a snap to them. So I don't know if there was a little glue on it or epoxy or something, but they all had a snap seal to it, which is pretty impressive. So they're not going to vibrate loose. Now, that being said, don't do this at home. It's a surefire way to start voiding your warranties, to start disassembling your speaker. So if you don't want to damage anything, well, leave it as is, one solid piece. So this goes for any brand, any model of product or electronics. Now we're going to take this cover off once and for all. I did already take it off once, just to make sure I can take it off. So here we go. This is our cover. We're going to talk about a couple of things here. First, like I said, the cover, very thick. Plus, it's got the dampening mesh on the back side of it, which is, again, a big plus. These are things you can cheap out on easily, and they don't. They have that all here. I've seen some from some companies who try and make something that looks impressive, but when you get it, it's not really that impressive. So in this case, this one here does the job. It's built the way it's supposed to be built. Again, 6 screws down the side on each side, plus another 4 across the top and 4 across the bottom. The driver package on it, like we already know by now, we've got 15-inch, and it's got the material mesh that's all sprayed and coated into it. Even though the driver is basically a cardboard material, it has been soaked to make it even more durable. So, and it also makes it moisture resistant in that case as well. So, not waterproof. Don't leave this out in the rain, that's for sure. If you are going to use it outside and you think it's going to rain, slide a clear plastic bag over it, it'll play right through that. So, especially at the volume levels, you're not really going to hear that much of a difference. Now, that being said, again, all plywood. We've got everything all built down at the bottom, built up, so this way we have attachment points. We've got our light indicator here. We've got ports on both sides of the actual box. The rest of it, all finished, by the way. It's a full matching set. We'll talk about that in a second. So this is our 2-inch horn. So this is real important. They didn't just go with a regular one, which is just going to give us a sharp cutoff line for dispersion with sound. It's shaped out pretty well, built to give us volume out of this product, so that's a big plus. So now let's talk a bit about the box. Just like we said, we've got plywood. It is 12 ply. So yes, when you do look at the JBLs, they are 18 ply. So that's thinner, more layers back and forth. 12 ply is pretty standard in this range of product though. So 12 to 18 is where you'd want to see it. Now, the finish. Very impressive. So first they primed the whole thing, and it's primed all the way inside, by the way. So when you look inside this box, it's been primed as far as they can go. Then after the black primer's been put onto it, then they go with a full hard rock, kind of like a rhino liner finish on the entire box. That also overlaps onto the inside, so there's no exposed areas at all. To give an idea, if you go out and get 80 grain sandpaper, that's pretty much what it's like. Get cases for them if you're going to transport them a lot to protect not just the speaker but anything you're going to put next to it. If you're putting this and you put a couple of speaker stands beside it and they rub together, it's going to rub the shit out of your speaker stands. So you do want to have this covered. You could hit this with a hammer, you won't damage this, but this, at the weight that it's at, 70 plus pounds, if it's leaning against anything, rubbing against it, it's going to cause damage to whatever it's leaning against. So definitely get covers for it. That's it. You know, I mean, we're not bad mouthing it. That's just the way it is. Most manufacturers with these type of speakers are going to be like that. Now they do have fly wire attachments. Now use proper hooks that are weight rated and meant to be used here. So you literally take these screws out. There are metal brackets internally that adds strength to the actual box for transportation. But as important, if you back out this screw and replace it with the proper eye hook that goes in here, or full actual fly wire connection that goes to here, that's how you're going to do it. They're on top, they're on the side, so if they are going into a bar or a pub or something like that, you can't hang them, no problem. So that's what we have there. So there we go. I think we pretty much covered it. At this point, we're going to put the JBL back on the table. We'll talk a little bit about the JBL in comparisons to this product here, and then we're going to do a sound test in the back. Okay, so a little bit of comparisons between the two, because $500, normally around $500 right now, $440. The actual Blastking here, and we're talking specifically about the KXDII Series, the new one. This particular product here is more powerful than this. Now, that's where it kind of stops. This is lighter. This is all plastic, right? So, I mean, this is a little bit more easier to carry around because it's only in like the 35 to 40 pound range. But this one here is built for power. It's built to be louder. Now, if I had the actual SRX or PRX here, well, that would be a different story. They'd be getting up there in weight as well. Now, where does JBL put all their resources? Not just in volume, but here you're also going to get that sound diffusion system. So this way it balances out the bass with the highs, so this way you don't get any muddy outside space. Traditionally, we don't see that with most speaker companies, hardly any at all, but they do go that extra extent. Again, we turn around when you've got an entire team of engineers and you have resources of multiple different brands that you can pull from to build a product, you're going to end up with a product like this. Now, this one here incorporates features from Soundcraft. incorporates technology from Crown. So I mean, you get all of these type of things, plus probably other stuff that we don't know about, to really make this as good as it possibly can be at the price point that they're going for. That's very important. So yes, more power, more accurate performance, right? So that's the differences. So if you're looking for something louder, stronger, that can go faster and harder than an EON615, then you're going to be looking at something like this without going and spending $850 on the next level up here, or $1,400. So again, yes, big company, lots of engineers, lots of people working on this to make this really good. Now, you remember, everything doesn't come for free. So if we're going to have an app, we're going to have the ability to adjust all the fine details, which you can do here on a tablet or a phone. That's going to cost money, and that means the money's got to come from somewhere else. So in this case, for this particular model, it's coming off the power. It competes well with everything in its class. So if you're going this versus ZLX, or this versus anything from Alto's TS3 series, or Mackie Thumps, that sort of thing, you're going to do really well in having this product. Now, feature that I do like on this is the fact that you have my favorite, remember, the button to go from mic to line. You can do that here. So that's a big plus. If, again, a product's going to get used by anybody else but yourself, those are good features to have. And it's a little bit more indestructible in that sense. Not all the brands can talk that way for their reliability. They're always under the impression that somebody who knows what they're doing is going to run the speaker. So there we go. That's what's going on. So let's do some sound testing. And again, if we're going to go dB in a real world, I think this would be happy to be driving at 90 dB. This one can go as high as 110 dB. Now, what does that mean? It's a small difference. You go from 90 dB to 100 dB, and that's going to be twice as loud as 90 dB. Now, if you go from 100 dB to 110 dB, you're now going to be even twice as loud as that. So that makes this almost 4 times louder than this. Does this sound better? This has an active crossover system, so at lower volume levels, this will be fuller, richer sound, more in tune to what you're probably listening to for, let's say, a home system or a studio monitor. That sort of thing will be closer to that than this will. But that doesn't take away from the fact that if we're going to start ramming up that volume knob and we're really going to start pushing it, this is going to do the job really well. Now remember, this is a $500 speaker. This is $440 to $500. If we step up, we're going to do better here. This is where they top out right now. So they're first trying to get attention in the market and say, look what we can do. So that's what's going on with this particular product right here. So let's bring it in the back. Let's do some sound comparisons, and then it's going to be up to you what you think and what you think is right for you.
Building on the lecture, verses coming daily under pressure. Working on applying the scheme, the true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I was building on the lecture, verses coming daily under pressure. Working on applying the scheme, the true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking bomb.
Okay, so we did do the actual live dB test, and well, what do you know? You see the numbers. They were 99.9 for the JBL and 105 for the Blastking. Now, what does that tell me is, well, it was 50% louder on the Blastking side. So again, you're going to decide on which sounds better, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, it's really about how much power you want to have and have an amp that can actually keep going and running it at that level. So if you're looking for loud, yes, I'm going to say the Blastking won that one. If you're going for quality and performance, absolutely, I think the JBL took that one away too. So, you know, coin toss. It's what you're looking for. So now we'll just play a little bit of music, have a little bit of sense. I've backed it down now to only 60% so we actually can hear it. And then we'll take it back to the table. so what we'll do is we'll take it back to the table. I mean, if I was to compare it to, yes, lower volumes, the JBL is better than the Blastking, but as you turn it up and you get to 75, 80% or even higher, besides overall volume, you get no contouring in the Blastking, so we're not going to see a shift of the bass out of the bottom end. So that's an advantage that you get with Blastking that you don't get with JBL, though the clarity of sound when you crank it up is going to be there. So again, this goes right back. If you're looking for performance, try, tested, and true, all these, historical things, then yes, JBL is the better buy, but it's going to be either less powerful if you get into the EON, or you're going to have to spend more money to match the power in the Blastking. And the other way, if you're just looking for pure power and you want to maintain as much bass without buying a subwoofer, because trust me, if you get a sub, everything just sounds better. But for that $500 price point, it's going to rock it pretty good. All right, so we'll bring it back to the table. All right, so there you go. So you've had a chance to listen to it. And yes, people are going to say, ooh, this sounds a little bit more refined. But at the end of the day, it's what Blastking is going for here. They're going for more volume. They're trying to get you to see that volume is really important. If you're looking to put your $500 of hard-earned money into a speaker, and the only thing you want is the loudest speaker you can probably get for $500, there are options out there, and Blastking is definitely one of them. If you spend your money on some of the other big brands, you're going to get probably more features, better overall sound at smaller, lower volume levels. But if it's power, volume, I want to get as loud as I possibly can. I want my neighbors to hate me. I want to use this in a bar, and I need volume. I need power. There you go. If your budget isn't to spend $900 to $1,500 US on a speaker, this is a really good option. You can definitely have a look at this. Now, we're going to have links down below. So you'll find this at Blastking's website because they're not on Amazon. So our links are going to go to Blastking for this. Have a look. You can see their driver. You can see their history. You can see all about this company. If we were down south in Florida or in the Gulf region, you'd see, that there are some dealers out there, smaller guys that have this product. They sell a lot to the Caribbean. So there's a lot of Blastking out if you're in that area of the country. Outside of that, you're looking at big brands like this that are everywhere in the world. So have a look at their website. I mean, at least give them that. Have a look at their website. They do have subwoofers. They have full lines. They have a series just below this. If you like this video, let us know down below, but also let them know on their website if you thought that you like their product. So that's going to be very helpful for them as well. So there we go. So I know it was a long video, and I appreciate you getting to this point. So if you liked it, give us a thumbs up. Also, remember again, visit Blastking. Very important. They were nice enough to hook us up with this. So this way we can get a chance to talk about it, and we can also get a chance to see if we want to bring it up here into Canada. So, hats off to them for doing that for us. And also check out JBL, because if you're looking for a brand and you're looking for, performance-oriented, higher end, you're a band, that sort of thing, everything I talked about for JBL, go visit their website or go visit their pricing on Amazon, because that's what helps us out here. So there you go. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.